we'll move on with the next speaker. It was Mikko Kervinen from the Finnish Environmental Agency. He will share a user story from the work they do within the Finnish Environmental Agency. Thanks.
So, good afternoon. So, today I'm going to talk about how we use Copernicus data and Copernicus data space ecosystem in the Finnish Environment Institute. I will start with a brief overview of our Earth observation activities in Syke. Then I will describe how we do our daily operational water quality production nowadays. And I will introduce our Earth observation application Tarkka. And I will end my presentation with an ecosystem research case study that we were able to accomplish with Sentinel Hub and CDSC. But first, few words about our institution. So, Finnish Environment Institute, or Suomen Ympäristökeskus, or Syke in short, is a state research institute, and our task is to provide research information and expert services for issues related to environment and natural resources. I come from the Digital Services Unit, where our task is to support our various solution units to do their research and other duties by providing ICT solutions and also tools and solutions for Earth observation data uptake. And we use Earth observation data for quite a lot of purposes in Syke. So today I'm mostly going to talk about our water quality processing lines, but we do have a strong background in cryospheric research, so snow and ice are important also in Finland. And we have participated in Corine land cover classification many times. And in the recent years, the biodiversity and habitat mapping studies have become more and more important in our field of work. And the data that we produce is used for monitoring and reporting, and also to serve the general public in Finland. And of course, our area of interest is in Finland, but for some cases we do processing in the Baltic Sea region scale also. And as an example of our activities, so Finland has reporting obligations for almost 5,000 different water bodies in fresh waters and on the coast. And these we can also monitor with Earth observation data in addition to the traditional in situ measurements that are used in the assessment of the water quality. And in the past, we have maintained our local archiving and processing system, where we harvested data on a daily basis from our national collaborative ground segment that is operated by Finnish Meteorological Institute, but also we use the Copernicus Open Access Hub as a data source. And in the early days of Sentinel missions, this local archive was the only possibility to do efficiently do reprocessing of historical data. And having this archive then made it possible for us to calibrate and validate our own algorithms for water quality and to start operational water quality production in time to support the Water Framework Directive reporting in 2018 already. But over the years, the archive grew up, so we also had more than 1 petabyte of data stored in our systems, and we wanted to stop maintaining our own copies of the data, and so also to benefit from the better scalability of cloud-based systems. And so in our workflows, we need possibility to do daily production and also reprocessing of historical data with in-house algorithms and third-party processors, which are usually implemented in Snap or in Python. And we like to use containers to run those processors. And we started looking for alternatives for our existing processing system in 21 when we first evaluated the existing diocese and did our first pilot study with GeoDIAS. And of course, the data accessibility there was great, but unfortunately, there were still missing some features that we would like to have. So, especially Kubernetes was something that we didn't want to manage by ourselves, and also the auto-scaling of the processing components was a bit of not so easy back then. So that was the reason that we started working with Amazon. But it's worth mentioning that it didn't take long before Creodice came up with those services too. So if we would start today, we might end up choosing differently. And so today we have our daily production pipelines for Sentinel-2, 3, and Landsat data set up on Amazon. And we also support full time series reprocessing, but of course in the Baltic Sea scale, not globally or in the larger regions. And we relied heavily on the Copernicus database ecosystem services, so each processing task starts with a query to the OpenSearch API, which we use to find the products that we want to process, and then depending on the data sources or the data that we are processing, we can get the data from different sources. And we fetch the data on the fly. For example, with Sentinel-2, the most recent 3 days are already available on Amazon in a bucket managed by Synergize, and we can get it from there. But if we are using or processing all the data, then we go back to Copernicus and use the S3 interface to get the data from the object storage, or if it's not working for some reason, then we can go back and use the OData API. And after we have processed the data and generated the results that we want, we archive them on the Amazon, and as a final step, we ingest the results such as the water quality parameters or turbidity or chlorophyll A concentrations into Sentinel Hub in private collections using the Bring Your Own Cloud Optimized GeoTIFF API. And this kind of workflow would not have been possible with the old Open Access Hub, where all Sentinel data was not available online. And by ingesting the data or the results into Sentinel Hub, it allows us then to use the same methods for dissemination and analysis of the data as with any other built-in Sentinel Hub dataset. For example, we immediately have the OGC APIs available for visualization of the data in our applications, and we also can do regional analysis with the statistical API provided by Sentinel Hub. And this, on the other hand, allows us then to build services like this analysis dashboard, which is meant for expert users in our organization, so that they can select the water bodies that they are interested in, and immediately they get the time series of the water quality parameters and the distributions across those water bodies. And if they choose, they may also view the true color imagery of the data. And that analysis dashboard is one part of our Earth observation service Tarkka, which is a public browser application that we use to disseminate and combine observations from different sources. On the landing page, we like to highlight some recent interesting observations from all around Finland, but the main component of the service is, of course, the map viewer, which contains the true color imagery from the Sentinel Hub OGC APIs. And the functionality of this map viewer is pretty similar to the Copernicus browsers, but in our case, we like to be able to view data from multiple instruments at the same time, so users may choose to overlay Sentinel-2 with Sentinel-3 data and also include the water quality parameters such as turbidity. And we also have some additional vector data and the time series from selected water bodies available, and also some in situ observations that are coming from our internal databases. And as we have so many different data sources, we like to use teams for different use cases. For example, in the Lake Ice service, the SAR data is also meaningful, but not so much in the water quality use case. And then on average, our service has about 800 daily users. It varies a lot depending on the season. Now the springtime, when the snow and ice are melting in Finland, is the high season for our use. And we consume about 10 million Sentinel Hub requests per month. And because we like to optimize the visualization of different satellite data according to the use cases and also to the changing light conditions in north. We have more than 100 layer configurations stored in Sentinel Hub to be used in this application. And we mainly developed this application for our expert users in our administration. But of course, most of the 800 daily users are citizens. And from our own user surveys, we have learned that they are also interested in the water areas of Finland mostly. So ice cover and ice breakoff are interesting for our users, and also the algae blooms, turbidity and water temperature in the summertime. And as I said, this is an open service, so you can go and check it out after the presentation. And now moving on from our daily work to this research case study about biowetness monitoring that we started a bit before the CDSE became to be, but we used Sentinel Hub services to do this study. So here we are dealing with the Aapamaias, which are peat accumulating northern ecosystems with high water table levels and that are mixed with these drier vegetated zones. The Aapamaias are important for biodiversity and carbon cycling, and they are also included in the priority habitat types for nature conservation in EU Habitat Directive. And the ecophysiological functioning depends on good hydrological conditions and also from the persistent water surfaces in the summertime. And that is the reason that we wanted to study if we can monitor the extent of the water covered areas using Sentinel-2 data. And for this, our team came up with 2 satellite-derived metrics. So first, soil moisture index, quite standard, and then they wanted to have the extent of water-saturated surfaces based on pixel-wise classification. And it turns out that the water detection in these dark targets is not that straightforward, so they had to train a custom decision tree model using hand-labeled data using the Sentinel-2 Level 2A imagery. And for the complete analysis, we needed monthly and interannual wetness variation for the whole Sentinel-2 time series across all Natura 2000 Aapamaias in Finland, meaning that we would need to process and classify all the Sentinel-2 tiles over the northern Finland. And a few years back, we might have started this analysis by downloading all that input data into our own system and started processing there. But in this case, we wanted to see if we can use the Sentinel Hub services to do this in an easier way. And it turns out that the Sentinel Hub offers a perfect tool for our use case. So Batch Statistical API can be used to extract the time series from our Maya polygons, and using the processing the classified data, it is not straightforward to get the wet area coverage, but using the histogram output from the Batch Statistical API, it can be done. And our model was quite simple, and it was straightforward to implement as an eval script. And once we had done that, we immediately were able to visualize the daily classifications with the Copernicus browser or the EO browser at that time. And then by using the tutorials and examples that are provided by Synergize, we were quickly able to orchestrate the processing workflow using the Sentinel Hub Python library. And later, or actually in the beginning of this year, we also extended the study from the regional time series to a raster data processing, where we generated monthly mosaics of the classifications over the whole study area. And from the results, we can nicely see, after aggregation over the different regions over Finland, the monthly variation in the extent of the water covered area, and especially the year 2018, which was extremely dry in Northern Europe, stands out from the results. And then further on, by comparing the monthly results to the standard conditions or the average wet area index, the team was able then to estimate the sensitivity of the water saturated surfaces to the dry conditions, and this information can now be used in in carbon cycling studies or in the modeling studies of the carbon cycling, and also in planning of restoration activities in the northern Finland. And as to summarize, so the data access capabilities of CDSE allows us nowadays to build scalable processing workflows in the cloud, and the Sentinel Hub OGC APIs are a cornerstone of our Earth observation service Tarkka, and we couldn't live without them nowadays. And the Sentinel Hub processing APIs make it easy for us to do ecosystem analysis in the cloud. And so, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mikko. We still have some time left for some questions if you want. Yeah. Maybe there are questions in the room? No questions? Andras, you have it.
Yes, I would actually like to know more about how the Tarkka system is used in like local scale decision support. Do water authorities enable or forbid bathing, for example, or is it used for outreach for schools? What's the uptake of the system at the institutional level? So the satellite-based water monitoring system how is it used downstream? What are the effects on local management from the satellite inferred data set?
So the water quality data that we produced, it's mainly used within our organization. So of course, the citizens and schools and so on, they can use the service and view the data, but mostly it is used for reporting and monitoring only within Finland, within our organization. And we have the regional authorities which are using quite a lot of this service.
Okay, thank you. I have a question myself. I think it's a very nice use case or use cases that you've presented, mainly based on the Sentinel Hub APIs. Did you, or during implementation, did you experience any performance issues, or was it all according to expectations? Do you have any feedback on that?
Well, for the Apamäe case study that we did with Sentinel Hub at the time, so a couple of years back, everything went smoothly, but maybe now that we extended with the CDSE, we had some slowness, I could observe. So on some days we could do processing in a few minutes, but then it might take one day, on the next day the same processing.
Okay, so you see a variable performance thing. Okay, good to know. The first use case, I'm not sure about the name anymore, but the implementation that you did on AWS, because some services were not available at the time of your implementation. If you would do it all over again, you would choose CDSE now?
I think we would maybe go with the GeoDIS nowadays, because now we know much more than what we knew when we started, so we could maybe use services differently. So with Amazon it was kind of easier to start because they had so much available information for us.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Any more questions from the audience? No more? Okay, thank you very much, Mikko.